All right, let's go ahead and get started. Um, so first off, my name is Grace Fuller. I use she, her pronouns, and I get to serve as the Interim Assistant Director of International Experience and Engagement here at the International Services and Engagement Office. And I am joined by my wonderful colleague, Vanessa, who I'll invite to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. My name is Vanessa Cisneros, and I'm an International Student Advisor here at International Services Engagement Office, or ISEO, as you'll hear us call it quite a bit. So again, welcome, and I look forward to speaking with you today about the visa process.
Mhm. And on behalf of ISEO, or the International Services and Engagement Office, first off, we just want to say welcome. We are truly so excited to begin interacting with our new cohort of students. This is such an exciting time of year, and you all make our campus better. You make our community better, and we are so excited to have you join us and do what we can, everything that we can to support you in your process of joining UC San Diego. So such a warm welcome, and we're excited to dive in. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. So we are in a Zoom webinar today. So you are in listen-only mode, which means you can hear us, but unfortunately we can't hear you. So the main way that we'll interact together today is through that Q&A feature on your Zoom menu bar. If for some reason that you don't get your question answered today, please know you can always contact us via icontact.ucsd.edu. And finally, we are recording. So you'll be able to view this webinar recording as well as all other webinar recordings at inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu. Please note it does usually take our team about a week's time to edit the video and post it to our website. But it's a great resource, and you'll click on Fall 2025 Pre-Arrival Webinars. All right. Next, here is just a screenshot of what that Q&A feature might look like. So if you haven't been a part of a Zoom webinar before, this is how you'll interact with us again. Do note that at the end of today's session, we have dedicated time for open question and answer. But for if ever any reason, you can submit that question. I know that I myself sometimes am joining a webinar and I have this question and I'm so afraid to forget it. And so we like to have that feature where you can submit a question. We might answer it during the content of today's presentation, or we might save it to the end to answer it live during our open question and answer time. Okay, so a little bit about who we are. Who is the International Services and Engagement Office? So we, again, are so excited. We are the team that welcomes you to UC San Diego. Most often, you will first interact with us requesting your Form I-20 or your DS 2019 to begin the process to secure your F1 or your J1 student visa. But we also really see ourselves as hoping to support you holistically during your time at UC San Diego. So yes, we offer processing your immigration documents, advising on your student visa status, but we also want to offer programs and workshops and really ways that we can support you in every aspect of your life at UC San Diego, whether that be academically, personally, helping you transition to campus and student life here, and really cultivating a meaningful engagement with the university as well as the local community. And with that, I always love to say, who are our students? Because they're such an integral part of who we are. So we are so excited to have just a really cool population of various students here with us at UC San Diego. So as you can see, we have over 4,000 currently enrolled undergraduate students, over 4,000 currently enrolled graduate students, making for over 8,000 currently enrolled international students. We also support over 2,000 students on post-graduation work authorization, so post-employment. You can also see some of the most common majors here, as well as departments, some of the colleges for our undergraduate students, as well as the top 10 places of origin. So while we have over 100 countries represented at UC San Diego, you can also see some where most commonly our students are coming from. And again, this is just the first step in us supporting you and hopefully being able to meet you this summer, most likely this September, during our new international student orientation. So we are so excited to welcome you and have you join us and be a part of our community here. Okay, a little bit of first steps before I hand it over to Vanessa to talk more about applying for your US visa. The first thing that I want to highlight is logging into your applicant portal. Now, this is through undergrad admissions, and with this, you'll complete your enrollment checklist. So the very first step should be accepting your offer of admission. This will kind of unlock all these other protocols and processes that you'll use to then access a lot of these other forms. If it's on your applicant portal, then you'll also complete the California residency for tuition purposes questionnaire. And this is another piece that if you see it, please go ahead and complete it, as that will be contingent for you to do these other steps. Okay, so 2 to 3 days later, after you complete those steps, after you accept your offer of admission, you'll receive an email asking you to create your Triton Link, Active Directory, and Duo accounts. So these are required accounts that you will then use to basically access every system and portal at UC San Diego. So the creation of your Active Directory will provide you with your UCSD PID or personal identification number, as well as email. Your email is the primary way that UC San Diego will interact with you as a student. So it is good practice to already get in the habit now of checking that UC San Diego email. We send our iNew student newsletters to your UC San Diego email. So lots of really timely resources about, hey, you should start thinking about this now, or hey, you should start thinking about this now. And we'll time it to your student journey. So again, it's in good practice to set up your UC San Diego email. It can take 2 to 3 days, up to a week. So allow a little bit of time, but then as soon as you have access to those systems, get in the good practice of checking those. So once you have done that from the admission side, that's where we invite you to use inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu as a resource. So we have really built this out dedicated to our degree earning students. So our undergraduate students who are earning their bachelor's, master's, and PhDs. And this really breaks down the process in terms of securing your international student visa step by step, right? And so here you can see step 1, apply for your F1 or J1 certificate of eligibility. This is what it will look like on your screen, but we really encourage you. We've done our best to make this website as easy to navigate as possible. These webinars help support and expound on the directions you'll find on the website, but the website is such a good resource to refer back to. So as you're completing these steps and pursuing your journey, this is, I would say, one of our #1 resources that we provide for our students. And with that, I'll hand it over to my colleague, Vanessa, to go into more detail about applying for your US student visa.
Hello again, everyone. If you're here with me or watching this perhaps later, you are prepared to learn about applying for a US visa for F1 and J1 students. ISEO divides the visa process into 6 steps. This last Tuesday, ISEO reviewed step 1 in the visa process, which is obtaining your I-20 or DS-2019 from our office. You will need an I-20 for F visas and a DS-2019 for J visas before moving forward in this visa process. As a reminder, you can request your new Admit I-20 or DS-2019 via iServices. All of this information is available for you to review at inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu under Step 1. You must have accepted your UCSD admission and have set up your UCSD password and your PID and have activated your UCSD email in order for you to have access to iServices.ucsd.edu. Please note that it can take 3 to 7 days for you to receive your PID and UCSD email after you have accepted your admission. So long story short, make sure you have set up all of your UCSD accounts before you log into iServices. Thank you, Grace. Today, for our webinar, we will cover steps 2, 3, and 4 of the visa application process. It is important to note that these steps are distinctly different than step 1. For step one of the visa process, you requested your I-20 or DS 2019 from ISCO, from us. For steps 2, 3, and 4, you are submitting a personal visa application with the US federal government directly. And this part of the government is called the State Department or Department of State. The US State Department runs and oversees all of the embassies and consulates around the world. While embassies and consulates are under the State Department, they each operate with a certain level of autonomy or independence. This is why throughout this presentation, you will hear ISCO, you'll hear me say repeatedly, check with the embassy or consulate you are applying with. It is critical to note that the university or ISCO cannot communicate with the State Department on your behalf regarding your personal visa application. This means that it is important to take personal responsibility and accountability for your visa application and prepare as robustly as you can. That's why we're all here today. If for any reason you have to step out or pause the video or prefer to review things in text, all of the information about steps 2, 3, and 4 that we will review today can be found at idegreestudent.ucsd.edu under step 1 and under applying for your F1 or J1 visa stamp. As you are with us today, focus as much as you can on understanding the big picture of the visa process. ISCO has done all the note-taking for you, and you can find it all at this website. Step 2 of the visa process is scheduling the visa interview. There are two critical pieces to this step: submitting the DS-160 and paying the SEVIS I-901 fee. You will submit the DS-160 online non-immigrant visa application at usembassy.gov. This will include a $185 visa fee, also called the MRV fee. You will check usembassy.gov and again check with your local embassy or consulate's website for specific instructions on applying for a non-immigrant visa, including payment instructions. You will submit the DS 2019 online non-immigrant visa application. You want to prepare your required documents and information ahead of time per the instructions on the embassy and consulate's website. At this point, it's important to say, yes, you will be applying. There's a State Department website, but you will navigate to the embassy or consulate. They will have a specific website. So if you're applying in Shanghai or in Rio de Janeiro, they will have their own website. So you want to navigate and follow instructions from that specific site. You also want to have your passport and Form I-20 or DS 2019 without you. You cannot start the DS-160 process without those. And generally plan for approximately 1 to 2 hours to complete the DS-160. Have that time blocked off so that you're not interrupted during the process. So pieces of information that you will need for the DS-160. If you are applying for an F1 visa, you will have a Form I-20 and you will be asked for your SEVIS ID number, and that can be located at the top left-hand corner of your I-20. This is the document that is on the left-hand side. If you are applying for a J1 visa and you have obtained your DS 2019 from ISCO, you will find your SEVIS ID number and J1 program number on the top right. This document is on the right hand of the screen. Applying for the F1, you will also be asked for the field of study and zip code. This can be found towards the middle of the I-20. And for our DS 2019 holders, your field of study and zip code can also be found towards the middle of the document. You will also be required to indicate on your visa application school contact information, And this will include the name of the advisor listed on your I-20 or DS 2019. And these can be found on the I-20 towards the bottom of page 1 and towards the middle of the DS 2019. We have our phone number listed here, and we also have the email that you'll input on the DS 160. But don't worry about taking notes because, again, you can find all of this information under step 1 at inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu. Your next step is to print the confirmation page with the barcode. You'll be required to bring a printed copy to your visa interview. Following successful submission of your DS 160, you will be able to schedule your visa interview pending appointment availability. A reminder, make sure to print this page when you see it. Sometimes students will have a visa appointment that is after their program start date here at UCSD. Expedited visa interview appointments are available per the embassy and consulate that you're applying with. So an expedited interview appointment may be available. You have to follow the instructions for the embassy or consulate you are applying with. They will have specific instructions. And just a note that ISEO cannot advocate on your behalf. A letter from ISEO is not needed to request an expedited appointment. And your program start date is listed on your I-20 or DS 2019. So that information is available for you to advocate for yourself if you find yourself in this position. Now you will pay the CVIS I-901 fee. We recommend that you pay this fee at least 3 business days before your visa interview. This fee is required anytime you receive a new CVIS ID number. That means we've opened a new F or J record. For F1 students, the fee is $350, and J1 students, the fee is $220. Be sure you print the confirmation receipt page. You'll be required to bring a printed copy to your visa interview. Your immigration document folder is growing a lot already. A tip for citizens of Canada and Bermuda: you are not required to apply for a F1 or J1 visa stamp. You must still present a valid Form I-20 or DS 2019 to seek entry into the United States. You must still pay the CVIS I-901 fee. And there are additional documents that you must bring with you at the point of entry, but you'll find this under travel.state.gov for additional information. Okay, pat yourself on the back. We've made it through step 2. Step 3 of the visa process is to attend your visa interview. Many students will focus on obtaining the I-20 as quickly as possible, and that is important. However, the most critical component to this entire process is obtaining your visa, which largely hinges on the visa interview process. Please do not underestimate the importance of the preparation you will personally take to prepare for the visa interview process. Here are the items you will bring to your visa appointment. Of course, your passport, which must be valid for at least 6 months after your program start date. So you are undergraduate students, your program start date will be September, mid to late September 2025, so 6 months after that time. You will also need to bring your Form I-20 or DS 2019. This needs to be printed and hand-signed. You will bring your DS 160 confirmation page with the barcode as previously shown. You will also bring your proof of payment for the visa fee, if the payment was required prior to the interview, and also confirmation of payment for the CVIS I-901 fee. You will also need to bring a passport photo if you were unable to upload one as a part of the DS 160. You will need to bring your proof of funding documentation and documentation of home country address. aka ties, to your home country. Other documents, excuse me, other documents may be required or recommended. I am going to echo myself again and say be sure to check with the embassy or consulate's website for a complete list of documents you should bring. So you don't want to be an expert only in the visa application process, but you want to be an expert in the consulate or embassy you're applying with, their website. It is really important to note that before the visa officer begins the interview, they have already checked many things about your visa application. So they have checked your application history, including past green card petitions previously filed in your name. They have reviewed for previous visa refusals, if any. They have reviewed your DS-160 responses, so your application. They have reviewed and are aware if you have family members in the United States. Looking at your immediate body language as they enter the room, they are trained to assess that. And also any complications that are related to your situation. As an example, assume your officer knows about an arrest, the run-in with customs, or the school that you stopped attending. Assume that they have access to all of that information. Some additional things to consider about the visa interview process is that the visa interview goes very quickly. It's a short amount of time. The visa officer is making a decision oftentimes in 2 to 3 minutes. So your entire goal is to make it as easy as possible for them to say, yes, welcome. Let's give you a visa so you can come study at UCSD. You want to make sure that you are brief and maintain a positive attitude. You will want to be ready to talk. As we had seen on the previous slide, the visa officer has reviewed extensively information about your application. So they really want to talk to you and have a conversation with you. Be prepared to answer all the questions in English. And we highly recommend that you know this information flawlessly because this is what the visa officer will want to talk to you about: your program of study and its connection to long-term career or life goals. Your sources of funding. So do you have scholarship funding? Are you self-funded? Do you have family support? Why do they hope to support you? And ties to your home country. Also, a note about online presence. Visa officers can inquire about online activity, including but not limited to social media. Please be mindful of your digital presence to ensure it is compliant with all visa and immigration regulations. A lot of students often have questions like, how do I connect my program of study to my long-term career or life goals? Or how do I establish compelling ties to my home country? Because ISEO does not work directly with embassies or consulates, remember they are a department of the federal government, we cannot answer these questions directly, but we can point you to available resources. One such resource that we trust a lot is NAFSA's 10 points to remember when applying for a student visa. This resource is an excellent place to begin. The resource is also linked at inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu. Additionally, there are other F and J visa guides and resources available. If you decide to pay for a visa guide or visa consulting, ISEO recommends that you confirm that they are a former consular, aka visa officer, and or immigration attorneys. Please remember that there are also plenty of free resources, like NAFSA's, to support you through your visa interview preparation. Common first questions include variations of why are you traveling to the US? Or where are you planning to study in the US? I want to remind you that it is your responsibility to establish why you're qualified for the F or J, whichever you applied for, visa. And as a reminder, the F or J, these are non-immigrant visas. So that is why it is important for the visa officer to establish ties to your home country, your funding sources, and even on the previous slide where it had confirmed if you have family members in the States, because you are overcoming the burden of immigrant intent based on the consular officer's perspective. So the first question in the visa interview generally is your best opportunity to introduce your qualifications for the visa that you have applied to. Here are some of the things they want to hear in your answers. They want to hear confidence. That's clear, direct answers to show you have nothing to hide, but also that you're certain about why you're coming to UCSD or the school that you're going to, and what you plan to study and how you plan to use that for career goals. They're also looking for clarity. This means they want to hear details to support your answers, not just more words to fill up time. So this really means having your answers be meaningful and connected to the questions they're asking. They also want to hear credibility, that your answers match your document, your situation, and your intent. You are telling the visa officer a very big story about yourself in 2 to 3 minutes. So all of the information has to be consistent with the other documents they've already reviewed. Some things the visa officer doesn't want to hear in your response. They don't want to hear a lot of hesitation. This might signal that you haven't given too much thought or you're not too confident about what your plans are. They also don't want to hear too little detail. Maybe this makes visa officers think you're covering something up, or again, you're not sure about things. And they also don't want you to overly rely on your documents. They have already reviewed your application and a lot of information about you, so really do your best to have a human-to-human connection with your visa officer. It's an exciting opportunity and they want to hear more about it. Before your visa interview, as a pro tip, practice your introduction or your answers to these questions as if you were explaining your situation and travel plans to a stranger you've never met. Be comfortable answering variations of this question. Be careful not to memorize your answer. Use the wants green and doesn't want red from this slide to guide you and gauge your practice. Of course, the hope is that everything goes smoothly as you have prepared for, and the visa will be approved and issued. But there are unfortunately times when not everything goes as planned. The first potential visa delay is called administrative processing. If your visa application is put into administrative processing, it means that the visa officer did not have all of the information they needed to make a decision on your visa application. Once you have been placed into administrative processing, it is a special security clearance procedure lasting up to 60 days or more. The visa officer will provide you with a 221G letter indicating that your visa has been refused. The letter may or may not have additional information about additional documents that the visa officer would like you to submit. They will provide you with additional instructions. Please note that administrative processing is a very opaque process, meaning it is not very transparent. Please contact us here at ISEO at icontact@ucsd as soon as you are placed in AP. The best defense, the best strategy against administrative processing is being as prepared as possible for your visa interview process. On the right-hand side of the screen here, we have denials, which are rare but can happen. Usually denials under 214B are because the visa officer did not find strong ties to your home country, and reasons for you to return. Remember, the F or J is a non-immigrant visa. Or your prior academics make the visa officer question the pursuit of a student visa. So, for example, if there has been spotty academic performance in the United States prior, are you really going to the United States to study? What I have mentioned just now is not an exhaustive list, but they point to a visa officer finding that your intended activities are not consistent with the visa class you have applied for. Again, a non-immigrant visa, the F or the J. So the visa officer must believe that you are coming to the United States to study and that you have every intention of returning home. This is why it is called a non-immigrant intent visa. So if you really want to reapply, you must show credible after you've been denied. If you really want to reapply after the denial, you must show credible, new, and compelling ties outside of the United States, and that your intended activities in the United States are consistent with the F or J visa class. Again, please be sure to contact ISCO if this happens. There's not a lot of advocacy we can do. We can't do any advocacy with the State Department directly, but we can help you navigate your options and ensure that you know what to do with the academic sides of things and how to prepare once you do have a visa issued. That was a lot. Step 3 is complete. Take a breather. I would say step 3, attending the visa interview, is likely the most intense process of the steps 2, 3, and 4. Step 4 is to receive your visa stamp and plan to travel to the United States. When it's time to obtain your visa stamp, the consular visa officer will collect your passport. It will typically take 1 to 2 weeks to produce and put the stamp into your passport. You can ask them how you can retrieve your passport back and how much time it is, and if there are mail or only pickup options. This will all be with the embassy or consulate that you're applying with directly. You now, congratulations, have the documents required to seek entry to the United States. Customs, the agents at the ports of entry when you arrive to the United States, will require your valid passport for 6 months into the future after your program start date, Form I-20 or DS 2019, again printed and hand signed, and the F1 or J1 visa stamp in your passport. ISCO strongly urges you to avoid booking any travel until you have obtained your visa. If you decide to book travel prior, against our advice not to, please make sure you book flexible and book flexible travel that you can be refunded for if there are any issues in the visa process. Something to know when thinking about booking your travel to the United States is that there is a 30-day entry rule. For F1 and J1 students, you may enter the US no more than 30 days prior to the program start date listed on your Form I-20 or DS 2019. For F1 students, look at the earliest admission date field on your Form I-20. This is towards the middle right-hand side of your document. For J1 visa holders, you can look at the Form Covers Period box on your DS 2019 and calculate 30 days prior to the from date. The from date is your program start date. This information is listed towards the left of your DS 2019. Plan for extra time at your first US port of entry. ISCO recommends you schedule 2 to 3 hours at a minimum between any connecting flights or when crossing a land border to allow for SEVIS status verification at customs. Congrats, step 4 is done. Because we've gone through so much information, just a quick recap on the visa process. For steps 1, 2, and 3, you can find this information at inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu under step 1. So that includes obtaining your I-20 or DS 2019, obtaining the visa appointment, and attending your visa interview. For step 4, again, you can find this at inewdegreestudent.ucsd.edu under step 2, prepare for your arrival to UC San Diego. And the last 2 steps of the process are arrival to the United States and your check-in form. This again is at inewdegreestudent, and you can find it under step 3. I hope it has really resonated with you that all of the instructions you need to navigate this process are really all on this one website. Of course, we're here for you to answer any questions, but we've worked really hard to ensure this resource is meaningful, accessible, and usable for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for such a thorough and clear overview of applying for a US visa. I'm going to go ahead and talk about ways that you can already engage with the UC San Diego community. So the first one is what I mentioned earlier. It's our iNew Students newsletter. So this newsletter is sent out to our new and incoming students. And again, we really send out timely updates that we want to get you the information when you need it, right? So it might include, hey, iService has opened. You can now request your Form I-20 or DS 2019. Or maybe we have a pre-arrival webinar coming up next week. It's focusing on this topic. You might want to check it out. So again, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and set up your required accounts, get access to your UCSD email, and start regularly checking it. Another resource I like to highlight is our welcome guide. So our welcome guide really covers a lot of the same information, but we know that people process information differently. So if you are more of a visual learner, the welcome guide has these different checklists dedicated for different parts of the process. So before you start classes, as you prepare for arrival, and upon arrival. And so you can check out that welcome guide on the website listed here. And I think Jessica has also put it in the chat. Oh, sorry, Vanessa. Thank you, Vanessa. All right, our Serve Check guide is a cool guide because it's created for students by students. So this guide was actually put together by some of our international students, and these were some of the questions they had when they were preparing for life in the US and more specifically life at UC San Diego. So it covers topics like, how do I arrange transportation from the airport to campus? What do I do to set up a phone account in the US? What do I do to set up a bank account in the US? All those things and more are covered in our Serve Check Coming to UC San Diego guide. Okay. Another resource I really like to highlight is our Global Ambassador Program. So this is a peer mentorship program that matches incoming international undergraduate students with current undergraduate students at UC San Diego. So when you're filling out this form, you can list your preferences in terms of who you would like to be matched with. So maybe you would really love to be matched with someone from your same home country. Maybe you're hoping to be matched with an American student, maybe sharing the same major, maybe a part of the same college. All those factors are listed in this form. And a lot of students said that this is one of the most helpful things in transitioning to life at UC San Diego. It's a way that you can already begin to build your community, to build your network, your support system, and have a peer that you can ask all those questions to, whether it be academics related or life outside of the classroom. You can scan the QR code on the screen, but there's also a link on the slide as well as a link in the chat. Okay, so I programs are our signature programs. So these are programs that we offer throughout the academic year as a way for various touch points for you to interact and be a part of our global community here. A few that run monthly, so Global Coffee Hour, Game Night, and Crafting. Each month we host these activities as ways for you to come, meet other people from around the world, usually enjoy some snacks, and just really connect with our community. Some of these other programs are our English in Action program. That's an English conversation program where you can practice your English conversational skills and be paired with a native English speaker. Triton Trekkers is our collaboration with Outback Adventures to explore our beautiful backyard of San Diego. So we recognize that many of our students may not have a car, but this is a way that you can still explore San Diego by kayaking La Jolla Cove or climbing Mission Gorge or learning how to snorkel. All these different things is a great opportunity. And then ISAC is our International Student Advisory Council. So that is a leadership program that really is dedicated to advocating for and improving the international student experience at UC San Diego. And so if you're interested in that, please go ahead and check it out. And thank you, Vanessa, for putting that link in the chat. Okay. The last one I'll highlight in this regard is our iEvents calendar. So this is a live calendar. It's continuously being populated by our office as well as other offices and student organizations at UC San Diego. And it really highlights events that either have a global focus or target an international community. I know many students will actually like bookmark this page. And so once they're at UCSD, they're wondering like, what is there to do this weekend or what can I go to this week? And they'll look to see what's happening on our iEvents calendar and check it out. It's also kind of a cool way to kind of get a sense of the events that are currently taking place. Another way to get a sense of what I would say like student life might be at UC San Diego is through our Instagram. So Instagram is a really common social media platform in the US and specifically at UC San Diego. Lots of our students are on it, even lots of our departments and offices are on it. Our Instagram, and you can see our handle is at istudents.ucsd, is really focused on like what is it like to be a student at UC San Diego, specifically through the lens of an international student. So there's a lot of different snapshots of maybe like your favorite coffee shops to study at when you're a student here, or a Lunar New Year event, or a Holy event that you just went to, or truly like what to explore in San Diego while you're on spring break. So there's a lot of really cool things. And if you're curious about checking out student life through the lens of an international student, give us a follow on Instagram. I think we're going to do a giveaway soon for some of our new followers. So could be you. All right, so to wrap up, we're going to go through some important reminders and deadlines. So there's a couple things that you can start doing right now. One is requesting your Form I-20 or DS 2019 to begin that visa process. So you can see iServices is going to be the website there and instructions at iNew Degree Student. Now, these next couple of points focus on housing, and I will say that next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be focusing and actually inviting our colleagues from housing, dining, and hospitality to talk about undergraduate student housing. So I highly recommend that you join us. That is a really helpful resource in terms of looking at on-campus housing, as well as we'll cover off-campus housing and other housing-related resources. So I encourage you to attend that webinar and then maybe look at some of these housing resources because there can be a lot of information and sometimes a little confusing. In July is when a lot of the health immunization requirements are due. Next Thursday, we'll actually have our colleagues from Student Health join us to talk about health insurance and immunization requirements. And then in September is a really exciting month. It's when tuition is due, move-in, check-in, and new international student orientation. And if you'd like a sneak peek of that, go to iorientation.ucsd.edu. So like I mentioned, next week we have a webinar on undergraduate student housing, as well as student health, insurance, and immunization requirements. Then later in April, we have finances and student accounts. In May, we'll actually focus on the CVIS transfer process. Then we'll talk about student life and getting involved as an international undergraduate student, campus safety, and then we'll also have a Surf Check Live. So we'll invite some current international students from UC San Diego to talk about getting set up in the US. So kind of like what I mentioned earlier of setting up phone account, a bank account, all those different things. And you can ask them what their experience was like and any resources they might recommend. Okay, finally, we have a survey. So we are continuously making changes and making improvements. So if there's anything that you would like us to go into more detail about, please go ahead and fill out our survey. We also review these surveys in preparation for orientation. So if there's anything that maybe we missed for this pre-arrival webinar, but we're going to offer again in September. There's also, I think, a gift card giveaway if you fill out our survey. So if there's that extra incentive. And finally, we'll close with some open question and answer. So I do know that we received one question while Vanessa was presenting, and that question was if all undergrads need to apply for an F1 visa. So please do note that I would say most of our undergraduate students are here on a F1 visa. However, you do have the opportunity to apply for an F1 or a J1. We have a web page on our website that kind of covers the differences between those two visa types and which ones might be the best fit for you. So you're not forced to apply for one versus the other, but depending on your needs, there might be one that is a little bit more of a better fit. So we would recommend reviewing that website in detail and then kind of weighing which one might be the best fit. Oh, wonderful. We have another question about, is the Global Ambassador Program done simultaneously with Summer Start? Yes. So just to verbally highlight Vanessa's great answer. So the Global Ambassador Program is extracurricular, meaning that it's a non-academic program. It's a voluntary program that you can opt into if you think it would enrich your student experience. So yes, it's definitely possible to be enrolled in classes over the summer, to start your academic program over the summer, as well as be communicating with the Global Ambassador Program and your GAP mentor as well. So we hope you'll join us. When students participate in the GAP program, they typically just like rave about it. They're like, oh, that was so nice. And then they'll like meet their mentor for coffee when they come here physically in the fall. And so it's cool to see those connections already being built. All right, if you do have a question, we are approaching the end of today's webinar. So use this last minute or so if you have a burning question to submit it now. But please remember that if a question comes up in the interim, you can always reach out to us at icontact.ucsd.edu. We have many different touch points of how to best engage with our office. So that can include, we have iServices tech support. So if you're maybe requesting your Form I-20 or your DS 2019, we have some troubleshooting there. There's ways to email our office. There's ways to meet with us in advising if you have researched our website, really taken a look at it, and then have a very specific follow-up question for your scenario. So we hope to have all of those. And as a reminder, we will post all of these webinar recordings. So in about a week's time, you can find the webinar recording at inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu under Fall 2025 Pre-Arrival Webinars. Okay, I don't see any more questions through the Q&A. Vanessa, is there anything else that you would like to verbally highlight?
No, I think we covered a lot today. Thanks for spending your time with us or watching the recording, but that's all I have.
All right, wonderful. We'll hope to see you next week. And until then, take good care. Thank you.